Hi guys, it's Sam, and today I want to talk to you about my wrap-up for the RYBSAT Readathon. In this readathon, I read a total of 3 books. I read Mrs. Dalloway, A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again, and Slouching towards Bethlehem. So I wanted to go through, kind of do mini reviews. I don't think I'm going to do full reviews on any of these books. I'm going to give you my rating and what I thought about each book. So let's get started. First up is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Now, I've had this book on my bookshelf for a long time, and it's just something I had never gotten to. I read Virginia Woolf in high school and did like her writing style, so I wanted to try something else by her. And this is a short book, it's less than 200 pages. I thought it would be a good kind of re-entry back into the world of Virginia Woolf. I did enjoy this book, but I feel like I would have enjoyed it more at a different time in my life. It deals with the idea of failure and with the idea that things in your life may not turn out how you have planned them. And I think it's a very powerful message, and you see different characters dealing with it in different ways. That being said, I am not currently experiencing that sort of feeling, so I felt a little disconnected from the book in that way, but I can definitely see myself picking it back up again when I am in that state and kind of need to wallow in that feeling, because that's a great thing about this type of literature that's so atmospheric, is that when you are in the mood for this type of book and you are feeling the feelings that are being portrayed by the characters, then it's just a great way to kind of wallow in that feeling and process it on your own. So I can definitely see myself picking it back up again. As of right now, I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I feel like if I am more connected to the story, the rating will go up. Next up is A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again by David Foster Wallace. As I mentioned in my TBR video, I have read some of the essays in this bind-up before, but I was excited to go back and read the rest. I found the point of view in this book to be very interesting. In each of his essays, he seems to stay very true to himself. I didn't see much change in tone or idea structure, which may seem boring, but I liked it because it seemed like I was reading a series of essays from one person and really getting a sense of who they are or how their mind works. I found his social commentary to be really interesting, and as I mentioned in the TBR video, he has a very distinct voice, that kind of somewhat pretentious East Coast academic feel to it, so I didn't agree with everything he said, but I definitely did see where he was coming from and really did appreciate the way his writing flowed. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm so happy I went back and read the rest of it, and yay. Last but not least is Slouching Toward Bethlehem by Joan Didion. And again, this is one of the books that I had read it for a nonfiction class and was picking back up to finish reading all of the essays. You can still see my sticky notes, which I had gone through the essays I had read before and found some interesting notes for myself. It was cool to see what I was thinking then and if my opinions have changed at all now, which for the most part they hadn't, but there were a few things that I didn't agree with my commentary anymore, so that was nice to see personal growth, you know? I found some of the essays to be a little too political. Not that I don't have opinions about politics, but it's not a subject that I find myself really focusing on a lot of the time. A lot of Joan Didion's work seems to focus on the politics of her time and social commentary, but with a political lens. And I can definitely respect that, and I can see how it has its place. But for me, I just felt a disconnect. I am not from Joan Didion's time period. Because I didn't grow up then and didn't experience what she experienced, I felt that there was a bit of a disconnect for me. I didn't understand the context of a lot of what she was talking about. Now, this could be rectified with research, and I definitely think that if I had the time, I would have gone through and looked into some of the topics she was discussing in more detail. But as this was a readathon and I was trying to, power through, I just didn't really have the time to do that. And I don't always want to, this sounds terrible, but I don't always want to think too heavily when I read. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the prose or the narration style or a person's point of view without necessarily thinking always about the historical context. Maybe that's just me because I'm not a huge history person, but it's the way I like to read. On the other hand, I really did enjoy some of the other commentary. The essays that focused more on a social matter or a personal matter were really intriguing. I enjoyed her point of view. And I got a real sense of how her mind worked, which when I'm reading one of these essays, same with the David Foster Wallace book, I want to get a sense of the person who's writing it. That's part of the reason why I enjoy nonfiction. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And that is it for my wrap up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.